we just do a mic check for Bully, please?
Mic check 1 2.
It's
Is that
quiet.
low?
It's quiet. Yeah, I had to turn my phone up to like max.
Why would that be? What do I gotta like
Maybe
put it
you're
in my mouth?
yeah, just when you're just like a ice cream, you know.
Yeah, if you got hearing aids, turn those things up because tonight's gonna be pretty interesting. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready. Before we start, guys, as always, listen, we do this show called Utility Unlocked because we are here for you guys to do the deep dives into projects that you guys choose. The three of us are not here to tell you to buy anything, really. We are here only to show you how we do our research. It is a community driven show, and what that really means is for us, it means that we want you guys to engage as much as possible. I have my trusty, wait, didn't have my pink pen. I got my pink pen still. I have the paper. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. There are things you are gonna say in there that we will get to. But just know that we are taking at the very, very end. Any questions you guys had, I will ask the two of them. If we can answer it, great. If we can't, we'll look it up on the spot or we'll get back to you guys. As always, this can be found also on YouTube, Blockchain Bully's YouTube channel. So if you did miss something or if you're getting in here late, fast forward to the part you missed and you'll get to see some good stuff. Anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah, I would just like to welcome CryptoWewo into the show. Guys, this is Utility Unlocked, the episode where we're going to be focusing on Constellation DAG. This is a show where we focus on research on utility blockchains with the approach of long-term thinking, not necessarily the short-term. This is primarily education. We're not trying to tell anybody to buy anything. What we're doing tonight is slowing things down and actually understanding what this project is trying to do in the real world. Not what Twitter is going to say it's doing, not what the price charts are going to tell you that it's going to do, or not what anyone is projecting or hoping that this project could do. If you guys are brand new to crypto, then welcome. If you are skeptical, even better. Ask questions, challenge the assumptions. I believe that that's how this space actually moves forward. So I always like to try to start these episodes with addressing a real world problem. You know, before we actually go into the project, if it's a utility project, they're solving something, a friction point that's happening in the real world. So right now we have governments, enterprises, institutions, all of them. They're generating a massive amount of data every single day. And that could be between like logistical data, it could be financial transaction data, compliance records, any type of data that you could be thinking about. The issue is where that data actually lives. Right now, they're stored in all different types of databases between different organizations. And because of that, those systems can't actually talk to each other. And that kind of creates like distrust between the organizations. They also can't verify or access the data. So that's the real friction point, right? That data integrity, the ability to actually trust that data is what Constellation DAG is coming out to. So most blockchains we know are built for enterprises, right? It's the token first. A lot of them are speculation only. And then the data actually comes second. But that doesn't work for your regulated finance, right? So this is where your Constellation DAG is coming in. And I want you to think of Constellation DAG as essentially it's a decentralized network that's designed to move and validate and prove the integrity of that data on the chain, right? It's not a payment system. It's not a DeFi platform. It's all about data integrity, okay? Should I go a little bit into the layer 0, layer 1, or do you want to stop me there?
I mean, yeah, I think that's totally up to you. You can go into the layers. It is a layer 0, but yeah.
By the way, if at any time you don't agree with one of us, please push back.
No, I will. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
I love to do that. Like, and yeah, same and vice versa, because I think that's great. Yeah, you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, feel free, both of you guys, feel free to interrupt and throw your knowledge in there. But Constellation is it's a layer 0 network. Essentially, what it is, it's like a base coordination layer, and it's a finality layer. So I want you to think of layer 0 as like the master record of it all, right? This is where the truth and the data will actually become finalized in that blockchain. And the layer 0 is the actual layer that says like, okay, we can verify the data and we can prove that this is actually what happens. So on top of that layer 0, Constellation also allows layer 1s on there. And those layer 1s is the actual environment where the data is getting processed, the events can get validated, and that logic is actually sitting in there. And when all of that work in the layer 1 actually gets completed, then those results or the effects of that will get anchored back into Constellation's layer 0, which is called the hypergraph, right? That's where that truth is actually living in there. And Constellation designs that intentionally, right? Because Constellation is one of those systems where they're allowing multiple systems to operate next to each other instead of forcing everybody together on a shared blockchain.
It's not a blockchain, right? It's like, you can think of it as like a superhighway of like lots of different networks. It's not a blockchain, Constellation DAG. Yeah.
So they call layer 0 or the hypergraph, they also call it digital evidence. Like if you go to their website, that's what they refer to it as. So I think you're about to get into this is what you're about to get into, but the one, so to speak, or the metagraphs is build your own blockchain, so to speak. So you guys can, not you, but like a company or institution can go in there and they can create their own custom network, and then that's all. It all links back to the digital evidence or that hypergraph you were talking about.
Yeah. So and they did this intentionally, right? It's basically for the design of the enterprises and the governments and the people that they're actually working to. The enterprises and the governments, they can't have their data become public, right? And they especially can't have data that's shared. So Constellation is trying to fit with that existing systems, and they're not necessarily trying to replace them, which I think is important about.
So, and on top of that, so Constellation DAG also is, I think its superpower is that it is real-time fact checking, right? Like it is like, it uses its consensus, its nodes, and it's checking and it's validating, and it's so fast, and that's its superpower. And so like, yeah, I like to use analogies, right? So like Bitcoin is proof of work. So you can think of Bitcoin as like, who gets the highest test score? Whereas like Constellation DAG is like a bunch of peers all together, and they're all like validating each other. But then on top of that, it's a layer of, which peer is doing the best job. So which node is doing the best job. And that's like where the validation comes from. Probably too deep on that one, but that's its superpower, I think, with Constellation DAG, is its ability to do it so quick and so like the finality of it. Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Before we get into the team, I would definitely like to talk about what Constellation DAG is and isn't. They're focusing on data validation. That's essentially what they're doing, right? And they're also allowing custom applications to be built around it. What it's not doing is it's not forcing everyone into the Constellation applications, right? They're not forcing everyone to utilize one application. And they do have smart contracts in there, but it's not your general purpose smart contract platform like you would see on Ethereum or anything like that. Constellation DAG has its niche. It has its specific lane, which I think is actually good for the ecosystem, because if we've seen anything with any type of infrastructure blockchain projects out there, the ones that tend to stay in their lane, they tend to survive longer than the infrastructure projects that tries to do everything.
So before we go, are you going to go into team? Because I'd like to say a couple of things first. So just the three elements that kind of make up the network, so to speak, is we talked about the hypergraph already. the metagraphs, which are the build your own blockchains specific to each client, so to speak. And then the layer 0 token standard is another one, which which is something I want to touch on. If and essentially what it really means is if every metagraph created its own token, things would get really, really, really messy. So Constellation created a standard format for tokens. That way, wallets can recognize them, exchanges can integrate them, apps can interact with them, and they all work together smoothly. So those are the three elements that kind of make up this ecosystem.
Do you want to jump into the team?
Well, hey, CryptoWewo, did you? By the way, CryptoWewo, do you want to be called CryptoWewo or you want to be called
Misty? It's totally up to you.
Okay.
Misty or Crypto or Wewo.
Okay.
People just go Wewo too. So any of them are fine.
Misty, just so you know, we do not. There is no talking between anybody. Everyone does their own thing. So, did you happen to look up the team?
No.
Okay. So,
Sorry.
But no, it's okay. Bully, did you look up the team?
Oh, the team. I didn't look up the Constellations team. No, I didn't. I can do that though.
Okay, well let's hear it.
Do you want me to look it up? Bully's got it.
Bully's got it.
Yeah. So the people behind the infrastructure, right? They've been building since 2017, and they have a pretty big team behind them. The CEO is Ben Jorgensen. Okay. Wyatt. Where's Wyatt? Wyatt's not in here. Who is the CTO?
I have him as Wyatt Meldon Flock.
Why would he not be? Okay, Wyatt is the CTO.
So he's actually from NASA. He's a data engineer on NASA, which is crazy. Ben is from a few things. He's from Audible Ventures, Gift Connect. He's a co-founder at ClickPush. He is definitely accomplished.
The COO is in here. What do they have? So what is this? The Alex is the CTO? I thought it was Wyatt.
They may have changed.
Am I wrong? Okay, well, that's where not preparing for the show will get you. We could be giving out bad information right now.
Is Benjamin Diggles there?
Benjamin Diggles, right?
Best name crypto.
Co-founder.
Yeah. That guy. So the reason why I brought him up, he's from Oracle. He's the app cloud director at Oracle, or was. So again, we bring these names up. We give you guys a bit of like their background to show you where they came from and what they're bringing to the project, right? Super important when you're looking up these things. Brendan Playford, did you talk about him?
No.
Okay. So he was like the first CEO and a co-founder. He was named CEO in 2018. To say the least.
Dave Berg, he is your CPO. So there are some big names that I mean, these people have positioned their entire careers around like network and government enterprises and use cases, which I think is I think they have a fantastic team.
If we can, I'd like to go to about DAG itself and talk about the core functions and utility. If you guys are okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the things I found that I think are important. First of all, you have the security and rewards, the validators and people delegating tokens. They help secure network and earn rewards in DAG. Snapshot fees, which is what we talked about earlier, how the metagraphs sit on top of the hypergraph and how they kind of communicate to each other in snapshots. Okay, so snapshot fees, they pay fees in DAG to validate and store that data, and those fees get burned and removed from supply. We'll talk about tokenomics for sure. Governance and incentives. DAG holders can participate in decision making, and they can earn rewards for participating in governance structures. And then there's feeless transactions. So transactions on Constellation don't require normal gas fees. Instead, Metagraphs cover the cost with DAG. Tokenomics. Misty, did you look up tokenomics?
I did.
What would you like to say about it?
So I think the tokenomics, they looked pretty good. Now I can't remember. Of course, I should have my notes and I don't. So tokenomics, I think there was like 2.8 billion in supply. No more can be made. I think what not all are in. So 2 billion are in circulation. The rest are kind of locked away. It's kind of like one of those.
Okay, so there's actually two models, right? So the first model was 3.69 billion.
3.69, yeah.
And it was capped. So the things I found were essentially the old model was a fixed supply, like Misty just said. There was a cap. The idea was that Constellation were going to issue rewards on a schedule. Rewards were going to be cut in half every epoch, which is every 2.5 years, like Bitcoin's halving, which was going to control and lock the inflation. But the new model, which they call Metanomics, which old guys, by the way, like this happened just last year, so it's all very new for everybody. In Q1 of 2025, the network shifted to a flexible, dynamic supply system called Metanomics. The supply is not strictly capped anymore. Instead, it issues new tokens based on network activity and market conditions. So inflation model starts around 6% a year. And as this gets busier and faster, it goes down to about 0.5% over time as the network is going to mature. It's basically going to become a deflationary balance. So now there is no cap. When Metagraphs use the networks, they pay the fee in DAGs. Those fees are then burned, reducing the supply. So it kind of offsets each other. They bring in more coins and then they burn them when they get used. So therefore, it is not it's deflationary.
It is technically. It's not aggressively deflationary, but it's deflationary.
Exactly. Anything you want to add, Billy?
Nope, you did a great job.
Rewards and emissions are allocated, guys, in the new Metanomics model. Metanomics? I don't know how you say that word. But how they kind of reward everybody. So 20% of the tokens go to validators to secure the network. The delegators, they get 45%. So people who delegate their DAG to validators, they also get a fixed 3% APR reward. So if that's something that's in your wheelhouse, by all means. And then the protocol development gets 30%. The protocol development basically builds out core features in the ecosystem. And the last 5% goes to the foundation for Stardust and grants. Stardust is something we can talk about. Did anyone look into that a little bit? There's not a lot of information. Okay, so Stardust is essentially their wallet. They came out, I think in 2021, if I'm mistaken. Someone fact check me on that one. And essentially, what it did is it was a wallet where you could stake your DAG to secure the network. You could earn rewards. You could swap their decentralized exchange. It's called PacketSwap, and there are more robust ways, basically offering more robust ways to use Constellation in a Web3 DeFi aspect. That's what Stardust Wallet does for people. Pretty damn cool. To say nothing about the real cool shit that they're doing with the governments, which I'm sure we're going to hit on. For me, these things all matter because more activity, more tokens are created. If there's more tokens being created, rewards flow to people who are helping the network, and people can stake and delegate DAG to validators to earn rewards, which is something that a lot of people in the space love to do. Unlike some tokens that primarily act as speculative assets, which is what Bully was saying earlier, DAG is mostly used for paying for services. It's very important that people know this. You are using DAG to pay for services, securing the network, or to incentivize participants to build on the network. That is what I got. You want to go to timeline? Things that happened?
Yeah.
All right.
Go into integrations and adoption.
You know what's funny, guys? Did you notice, before we go into the specifics, did you guys notice that there's not, like, there's a lot of chains doing a lot of things every single year, but with Constellation DAG, they're hyper focused. Like, we are just doing these things and we're doing them perfectly or near perfect. Was it just me, or did you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I think that it is definitely on the defense side of things, and like, but it's also got the ITO side of things too, like the Internet of Things. So I think that DAG is not only is it going to do really well with integrating with the defense part of things, like, but it's also going to pick up on the AI side of things really, really good because of that, Internet of Things. So it's going to be needed. And I'm not saying this is going to be maybe the only token for this sector, but the integration for me is there definitely for that side of things too, because like AI needs for like little things, right? Like Internet of Things, anything that doesn't need us to work. So whatever that may be, whether it's a car, it's a thermometer, anything digital or AI powered that needs, data feed, it's going to benefit from that as well. So I think it's integrating in a couple different places, but yeah.
There you go. Bully, how do you feel about Constellation as far as its direction and hyper focus?
I mean, I think that they're finding success, particularly just maintaining their own lane. And as we said, I mean, you're seeing between AI, Internet of Things, financial operations, federal. I mean, people are interested in this project. So I'm really excited to see where they end up in 5 years and what else they could stack into their ecosystem.
Do you guys want me to go through the years, or did you guys get that? Do you have it on your end?
You do great with that. Let's run through the partnerships and integrations.
All right, so it's not a lot because it starts at 2018. 2018 was about capital formation, token distribution, and early testnet plans. In January, Constellation raised 33.7 million in private pre-sale of tokens. This was available to accredited and institutional investors only. They sold 730 million, a little bit more, but we're going to go with 730 million tokens. They sold these tokens for 4.5 cents, okay? Which is, sometimes you win as an early accredited investor, and sometimes you don't win. June 2018, DAG tokens came to market for everybody. Not for everybody, sorry, I take that back. They came to market at 0.0324 cents per token. So that kind of pissed a few people off, but it's a long-term play on this one, as you're probably going to realize very shortly. Constellation launched also that year, Constellation launched the flagship project Orion. It is a central portal where developers, token holders, and community members could interact and work together. Members could earn tokens by participating in bug reports, contributing resources, and community help. In addition, token holders could stake DAG tokens to gain access to developer tiers, and they could run nodes for the upcoming testnet. It was also a communication hub. They could channel for announcements, developer resources, and coordination of information and or activities. Alongside the Orion launch, Constellation said it was planned to launch a permission testnet around early August 2018. To participate, token holders needed to stake their DAG tokens through Orion. Running a node on the testnet could earn rewards, as we all know, based on performance and reputation. This permission testnet was essentially a controlled test version of the network where selected participants could try out validation and consensus mechanisms before full public mainnet launch. So basically a test ground to where they were headed. July 2019, the founders of Constellation burned, and like kudos to these guys, because they didn't have to do this. They burned a large amount of their own tokens. 288 million DAG were burned off the market, reducing the circulating supply and demonstrating a commitment to the project's long-term health. October 2019, Constellation announced a partnership with Chainlink, decentralized Oracle network, meaning Constellation became a node operator in Chainlink's network. Network effect. 2020 was the mainnet era and ERC20 migration risk. So prior to 2020, DAG wasn't on their own mainnet. It was actually an ERC20 token. DAG started, as I just said, on Ethereum. In 2020, DAG moved to Constellation's own blockchain or mainnet. Users had to swap the old ERC20 tokens for new mainnet tokens. Otherwise, their old tokens, they became useless. In 2021 to 2023, government traction became the differentiator. So basically, this is when their phases started happening with the government. Phase one was in 2019. Constellation got a small initial grant from the Air Force under SBIR. The goal was to prove that the technology that they were claiming actually worked in practical use case. Phase two was 2021, so 2 years later. After successfully completing phase one, the Air Force awarded more funding. We don't know how much because they're not going to tell us, but they awarded more funding. The goal was to build a working system and scale up the prototype. February 2021, Stargazer wallet, we talked about that already. May 11th, 2023, Constellation announced completion of a US Air Force Department of Defense Phase 2 effort. Air Force Research Lab and Air Force Works program referenced the integration work with partners like Kinami, which is one of their big partners. Government contracting is hard to fake at that scale. This was a meaningful credibility moat that separated DAG from every other competitor in the military government use case. September 28, 2022, mainnet 2.0 upgrade. Constellation announced the mainnet and developers could run faster, customized mini networks and apps while keeping everything secure and connected to the main DAG blockchain. In early 2023, Metagraph era began. The first Metagraph, which is on their website, is DOR? D-O-R? However you guys want to say that. Constellation launched a data pool to help developers who want to create metagraphs. The pool initially supported a metagraph called DOR, in my opinion, which was the first one to launch on the Constellation network for foot traffic data collection. DOR was built to support a real-world retail analytics system. It used special devices called DOR traffic miners, and these devices were small sensors that counted how many people walked in and out of a store. The data from these sensors were collected, verified, and stored on DOR Metagraph. Again, verifiable, immutable, not controlled by a single server. This is the information that they were bringing and the use case that they were bringing to market. In 2020,
say that one more time. They were tracking the foot traffic of people walking on the sidewalk and in and out of stores.
In and out of stores.
The expansion of the use case of something like that. When we say data, what they're doing is tracking the data. It could be something as stupid as tracking the amount of people coming into a store. And there's somebody out there that found a necessity to have that type of data.
Okay, so it's crazy when you said that, because here's the thing. There are reasons for a company to want to change that data. So imagine Misty had her own store, right? And she was the general manager of that store. And they were doing a really crappy job of service, and people stopped going to that store because obvious reasons. Yet every other store in and around them, same chain, same store, they're doing great. Well, there's got to be a problem with that. So now Misty says, you know what? I got to show head office that we're getting the traffic, but we're not getting the conversions. That's not my fault. That's I'm going to blame that on my staff. We need new staff. We need to train our staff. It's a head office problem. We need you guys to come in. We need you guys to train. It's not a me problem. Now with this new miner, you can't do that. If there's no traffic coming in, well, either there's a problem with where your location is, or there's a problem with the people in that store and people are avoiding you. That's it.
I know when I go on Google and I look at a store, I'm able to see the busy hours. So something as simple as that, it's like there is somebody out there that wants that data.
Right. That's interesting.
By the way, total non sequitur. Lychee, great flavor.
Lychee.
We 2024. Enterprise public sector narrative accelerates. July 22nd, a day before my birthday, in 2024, partnerships with 3IT Consulting aimed at federal data management and zero trust architecture. Say that 10 times fast. Basically, there are solutions that expanded on the USAF work. July 15th to the 16th, Constellation Network in 2024 still, Constellation Network announced a global hackathon, which to some people, this may not seem like a big deal. It was. If any of you guys have ever gone to one of these conventions, hackathons are huge. Hackathons are huge for a couple of reasons. One, it gets you, well, guys, why are hackathons huge, in your opinion?
I believe hackathon, besides for the monetization of the people that are coming in to try to actually obtain something, sure. I think that it opens the door for people to actually experience with the tech stack and see if this is something that they actually want to develop, utilizing this chain for themselves for whatever ideas or use cases that they have. They need developers. They need active developers. They don't want the part-time developers. They want people that can interact with it and actually sit there and compare it to the tech stack that they're using and go, okay, this is what I want to run with.
Cream rises to the top, right? Why not give someone a sandbox that you can say, go play, show me what you can do?
You have to. You have to get these people in.
Yeah.
Like it's great to sit there and have the community on board and retail, speculation and liquidity come in. But at the end of the day, you need developers. You need people that are actually deploying applications and running things on these networks, because other than that, you're going to find a stagnation in terms of the growth of the network.
And that's the second big one. In your own little developer in your office, you guys are all thinking like this, right? Whereas when you have a hackathon, those people aren't thinking like you guys. Maybe they're going to come up with this next best thing that's going to bring a use case to your network that will absolutely revolutionize the trajectory in which way you're going. This is what makes hackathons so potentially amazing. So when they started this hackathon, sure, you had those things, but then this is the crazy thing. They didn't just say, hey, we're going to put a bunch of money in or we'll do it online and then great, here, we'll see what happens. Instead of that, Constellation teamed up with big name tech companies like Panasonic, IBM, and ecosystem partners such as National Digi Foundry. National Digi Foundry, for people who don't know, because I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't know prior to this, it's a consortium style network that includes institutional and federal stakeholders, including folks tied to organizations like, drumroll, the National Science Foundation, U.S. Space Force, and Department of Treasury. So when National Digi Foundry said, hey, we're going to come and we're going to actually be part of this hackathon with IBM and Panasonic, this is no longer just a hackathon. This is a bringing together of major government and corporate power into the space called the big dogs, exactly, called a hackathon. So December 19th, 2024, Constellation Network teamed up with Common Crawl Foundation. They announced a custom blockchain metagraph designed to securely validate what Misty was talking about, AI training data. The project involves, this for me just, I can't even wrap my head around this. I'm gonna say the word, and I don't get it. The project involves nearly 9 petabytes. 1 petabyte is 1,000 terabytes, which is 1 million gigabytes. The project is 9 petabytes. Why this matters for anyone who loves AI. AI models require huge amounts of data to learn properly. Without a way to verify the data, models can learn wrong patterns, biases, or corrupt information. Using Constellation and Common Crawl's metagraph, each piece of training data is verified cryptographically. Organizations can trust the AI models because they know the data is genuine. It essentially turns a massive data set into a trustworthy ledger of AI training inputs. So again, for people who were in the back, didn't really hear that, December 19th, 2024, they teamed up with Common Crawl. Common Crawl Foundation should probably be on everyone's radar. Mid-2024, Iron Spider went public. I kind of feel like I just jumped into the Marvel universe, I'm not gonna lie. Do you wanna take that, blockchain, since it's up there?
Yeah, this was probably one of the biggest indicators to us that they were really kind of getting involved with the government environments and they were being taken more seriously. So this effort, Iron Spider, was essentially, they publicly disclosed work with the U.S. Air Force and the 618th Air Operating Center. And specifically what they were really kind of focusing on was verified data exchanging between the military systems and their partners. So this was just, again, another indicator and another way that the Air Force and any other military branch out here was continuing to like what they see and continuing to expand into this ecosystem with Constellation DAG.
Misty, what do you know about snapshots?
Not a whole lot.
No? Okay, so the things that I found, basically, like, Snapshot launched in 2024. Actually, I think I did say that. Constellation introduced snapshot fees in 2024 as part of its main network's economic model. Snapshot fees are charges collected from application-specific metagraphs to help pay for network infrastructure and maintenance. This was part of Constellation's evolving economic framework under its Metanomics model, which aims to balance token emissions and long-term network sustainability. One of the things we talked about Door devices that connected in to the mainnet. The crazy thing about, or the cool thing about Door is it added roughly 2,400 new devices feeding data to the blockchain, significantly increasing the amount of validated data snapshots happening daily. So proof of actual work, not like proof of work, but like that it is working is what I meant to say. There are potentially 2 other metagraphs. I'm kind of reluctant to say this because it's not verified by Constellation DAG, but if you do your research, MTG is one and CyberLeet is another one. Again, you can look up for yourself. 2025, last year, bridging into EVM liquidity. Base Bridge goes live. April 16th, 2025, Constellation announced that a bridge between its network and base is now live on the mainnet. This means you can now move tokens between Constellation's blockchain and base. The bridge supports DAG, which is Constellation's main token, Door, the token used in the Door metagraph. These tokens can now be used on base DeFi apps like Aerodrome. This is a strategic move to solve a perennial DAG issue, liquidity and access, by plugging into EVM adjacency without abandoning the hypergraph thesis. Those are the things, guys, that these guys have been up to. I personally haven't found anything else. If you guys do you have anything to add, or was that, did I cover most of that?
Yeah, I think that covers most of it for sure. So I focused heavily on, I was curious about competitors. Like, you know, for me, when I look at tokens, regulation is important. Are they going to pass regulation? Where are they integrated? And who are their competitors, if they have any, right? And what I find with a lot of these assets, a lot of them, is that they kind of overlap a little bit, but they're not, like, DAG is in its own lane, right? So I found like Hedera was kind of a competitor, but still they definitely fulfill different purposes, and they almost kind of work together a little bit. Yeah, I could go into like
Go.
HBAR. So HBAR is like corporate governance, you know, Google, IBM. It's got strong enterprise credibility and it's fast finality with a stable network. Whereas DAG's advantages are focused on big data validation, you know, the hypergraph. And then it's positioned more to the back end of the infrastructure. So different, HBAR is definitely more enterprise blockchain. DAG is more like data infrastructure. That's what I found for HBAR. That was a close one. And then IOTA was another one that I found was a pretty big competitor, I guess, but still definitely these two are more overlapping, but they're definitely not like interchangeable by any means. Again, a little bit different. And then Nano was another one that was kind of in the realm, but not as much as the other two. So what I found, the bottom line is I didn't think there was really another competitor to the role that DAG is filling. I'm not saying it's going to be the only one. I'm sure there's going to be more, you know, that come, but I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah.
What do you think, Bully? Thank you.
I think she got it. I think she nailed it right on the head. HBAR, definitely, probably a little bit more with the artificial intelligence, and then you have IOTA in terms of the IoT and the machine-to-machine learning. I do want to touch a little bit more on the integrations. The Panasonic, this is the computer software, the computers that's actually installed in your ambulances, your fire trucks, your police cars, which is really cool because that data has to be interacted between the actual vehicle and whatever headquarters that they're reporting it to. And then we also have Constellation's digital evidence. Okay, this was essentially just their way to cryptographically kind of put a fingerprint on the actual data, right? This is a tamper-proof way that they can actually prove that these events happened at specific times and they were never actually altered. And some of the enterprises that were included in here is, do I not have it here?
AWS is one of them, right?
Sorry. I have so many tabs open. Thought it would be in here. Maybe not. Damn, sorry. I'm trying to find this.
You're looking for the list of people that it's connected with?
Yes.
It's that one. Please hold. Your call is important to us. Company, join the community, DeFi? Probably won't be DeFi.
All right, don't got it. It don't fucking matter. But it was just
Love it.
essentially just some more integrations because this was essentially their way to kind of prove that the information can be trusted when it does enter back into that layer 0, which was really important for them because if they're kind of selling the data integrity, there has to be a means in order for them to kind of prove the authenticity of the information that's coming in, and it has to be actually verified and auditable by the organizations that are actually integrating it and adopting it. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
I was just looking at it. I don't know why I can't find it. AWS is one of them. I can absolutely guarantee you. Because I was surprised to see them there. Okay, so
who is it integrated with? Who is it partnered with? Is that what you guys are?
correct.
So the Air Force.
Yep.
How do you say it? Konami?
Konami, yep. That's one.
Amazon Web Services.
Oh, this was them.
Splunk.
This was them. Labs DAO, OB Collective, and Jado. I don't know what the fuck they do. I don't know who they are. But these are enterprises that are participating in it. I guess you could see here. This was essentially they're doing AI and helping UK government teams. But it's all data. That's essentially what it is. You got Panasonic again here as well. But the digital evidence was important for the data to actually be proven that it was tamper-proof.
Okay, so hiccups and risks. The hiccups and risks over time, the first one was token migration, obviously going from ERC20 token to their own mainnet. Mm-hmm. There can be scams there. If you guys are doing it now, you don't have to worry about this, but back in the day, this is something that could potentially happen. The narrative of complexity, hypergraph and metagraphs and layer 0 standards and data pipelines, it's all a sophisticated architecture, okay? That's a moat if it wins enterprise. But it's a handicap in retail if the narrative just cycles. So that's potentially a hiccup or a risk. Dependence on enterprise and government conversion is an absolutely 100% the biggest question mark, full stop. If big enterprise and governments do not convert on this, I don't want to say we're dead in the water, but we are definitely holding the bag, in my opinion. How do you guys feel about that statement?
I think there's definitely some risks to it. I think one of the biggest risks for DAG is that it is so complex. It's like not simple and it's a little tricky for, people. So I also feel like adoption is a big risk too. I don't think it's super adopted yet. And, for me, a little bit more adoption. I'm comfortable with, but it's still pretty risky for me.
Mm-hmm.
Bully? They have some decent strengths. They're out here solving a real world problem, right? And their niche that focus on like the data integrity, I think is important. And the way that they're going about it with the digital evidence, it does go hand in hand. I do want to touch a little bit into regulations after I get through the pros and cons, but regulation survivability, very, very high, simply because it's kind of pushing off the regulations to the actual enterprises that are actually utilizing it. The cons to it, I think that the adoption could be slow, as CryptoWewo said. And it's kind of a complex narrative for retail to necessarily understand. I think it's a hard project to really kind of get retail behind. Maybe you get the couple of guys that see the integrations from the U.S. military and they go, okay, maybe this could be something. But it's not a retail-friendly narrative. It's not something that's really exciting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that the risky thing about this is that if the adoption ends up stalling with this, it ends up going nowhere, right? Competitors could eventually come out, and there's a possibility that the token economics can actually fail to capture the amount of value that this thing could be inevitably kind of transacting with, right? Real quick, in terms of the, I think that was a sesame seed from a bagel. Sorry, that was disgusting.
Nice.
That was fucking disgusting. But in terms of the compliance and the regulations, this is essentially kind of in terms, if we are approaching this with the long-term investing mentality, we have to be considering the rules, compliance, and regulations, because that's going to dictate the survivability of it, right? So Constellation, it's not a bank, it's not an exchange, and it's not custodying any type of assets, right? So when you're looking at things that are requirements like your KYC and your AML, all of those are going to be pushed off and handled at the application layers of the people that are actually utilizing the network. It's not going to be the protocol layer itself, right? So in terms of how does this thing actually fit inside of regulated environments, well, structurally, it's not really their responsibility. It's kind of getting pushed off. So when we do focus on utility-driven assets, when we're paying attention to certifications like the ISO or the SOC, all of those will apply to organizations, right? The application layers that people are actually utilizing and building on here. So your neutral infrastructure layers, Constellation doesn't have to fight for regulations. So of course it kind of gives them that bypass to flow right through your regulations, which is a good thing for the ecosystem.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally, 100%. I feel like, yeah. Good job, Bully. Good job.
All right, so
good to
Sesame
set better.
seed
So for me,
in front of 100 people.
I want to just reiterate what we are talking about when it comes to what it does and why it's important and what could potentially go wrong before I say what I think about it. So we have metagraphs. They need to scale. More metagraphs and more users equal more demand for DAG on the network. It's pure economics. If everyone builds small apps but nobody uses them, DAG's value doesn't increase. That's the first step. Snapshot validation economics become meaningful. Snapshots, which again, it snapshots the metagraph, and that information is sent to the hypergraph or the evidence. They call it evidence domain. Snapshots equal periodic updates from metagraphs sent to the main DAG blockchain, which I just said. That validation, checking all those snapshots, there's a fee associated to that. So that's another way to generate money. Again, use case, and generate, money, quote unquote. The analogy, I know CryptoWewo likes analogies, so I got one for you. Analogy is think of toll booths on a highway. As traffic grows, tolls collect more revenue, benefiting the highway, or in this case, benefiting DAG, the value of your DAG. DAG remains the indispensable base asset, is an absolute must. DAG has to remain the token that everyone is using to finalize transactions. Even if apps make their own tokens, the final settlement or the trust token has to be DAG. Otherwise, you're not gonna make a penny. You might just lose them. In my opinion, I'm gonna call this caveman's conclusion. Constellation DAG isn't sexy, okay? But there is no doubt, for me at least, that this is a blockchain with government grade utility. That is what I think wholeheartedly. It is best viewed as a specialized infrastructure bet. If you believe the next wave is verifiable data, AI provenance,
I do.
Me too. Application specific chains, Constellation's architecture and government traction are aligned. Constellation is different from Ethereum like blockchains because it focuses on data and metagraphs. The risk, which you guys both said, is, right now it's not being used. It has to have adoption, and the liquidity has to be there. And right now it's lacking.
And unfortunately, with the narrative, I think the narrative is starting to pick up a little bit behind it. I feel like it's people must be talking about it, right? Because I've heard of people ask me about it all the time, but it's growing, I feel like, but it's just not quite there. And of course, the reason I say that is because right now we live in a hype cycle. So, you are only really going to make money off these tokens through a bull market, not a utility driven market. So right now, to make money off a lot of these, it's going to have to be, a hype cycle and not a utility cycle yet.
Correct.
Waiting for some clarity, but
So guys, with a long-term lens only, I give it a 7 out of 10. What would you guys give it? If this is the Olympics of crypto, where would you be at with this project?
Bully, you first.
I kind of want to give my explanation on my take on it. I
Okay.
think we're approaching this from a long-term
Come closer to the mic, Bully.
What?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, if we're approaching this from a long-term investor perspective, it's not necessarily about whether or not the technology is good. It's whether, like you said, does the role become necessary, right? If that verifiable data integrity continues to matter, which of course it's going to, then systems like this is going to have to depend on the reliability of the tech and the survivability of it. That's the lens that we really have to kind of look through when we're looking at these infrastructure things. Now, in terms of the actual DAG token, you're not going to see a price appreciation simply just because the network is used, which is probably another downside to it. I think the only thing that's going to actually matter long term with this project is whether or not the usage is going to force a demand for the actual token itself. So, if it does continue to expand and grow over time, then the token will benefit. But if the network doesn't, then essentially you can't really the price, the actual token can't succeed without the network continuing to expand. They have to be deeply embedded. That's essentially where I'm going. It's either a make or break moment for them. They have to continue the expansion, continue to get embedded, and continue that force consistency demand because it is striving to become actual infrastructure. Overall, I would probably give a very similar rating. I'd probably say it's about a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. So I agree with a lot of things that were said. So I feel like there's going to be or needs to be some enterprise lockup for these tokens, right? Of course, supply versus demand. If we see that kind of happen, but let's start here. As of right now, where we are in 2026, I would give DAG a 9.5 out of 10. And the only reason I say that is because it is literally the only asset aligned with these infrastructures right now as we speak. Do I know the narratives that are coming up in next year or the year after? I don't know. And there's probably going to be more, and they may be integrated. But for me, like I said, I focus a lot on the niche, where it fits, what it's solving, and who else is competing for that spot. That's big for me. Of course, there's the regulation and other things too, tokenomics. But for me, right now, it is the only thing aligned where it needs to go. So I'd give it a little bit more of a higher rating just based off that. I do think that it needs adoption, but I feel that 2026, 2027 is going to be a pretty big kickoff for AI, right? AI is going to start everything. Third will come, the financial side of things. So like ISO stuff will be like the third phase, right? But like the first phase that's going to roll out is going to be AI. And where we're sitting right now, there's not really another token to take that spot. So for me, I'd give it a little bit of a higher rating, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see where things kind of play out.
Well, that's the blessing and the curse of being a long-term investor and finding a project that has potential. We all want to be early to something. And if you could find that discipline and that stoicism to find an undervalued project and be patient enough, it may be 5 years, it may be 7, it could be 5 months. We essentially don't know. But when you're looking at pattern recognition and you're looking at the way that this thing is actually being integrated and onboarded, it's moving in a very fair direction, regardless of this sideways consolidation in terms of the price.
Yeah.
We can't measure the success of a price based on its current price action, because we know as long-term utility investors that short-term price action prior to rules and regulations, it's unsustainable. This doesn't necessarily matter. We're still in a speculative market. I think that this is a project that follows all three of my requirements for a good project. The use case is there, the integrations is there, and the rules, regulations, and compliance is there. This is a project that I would feel very comfortable in a portfolio for long-term investing.
Yeah. And so kind of for me, not even as long as some of these. And like we're in uncharted waters, right? So like we can only speculate on charts based off hype cycles, right? Because that's what we're in. We're in hype cycles, which is great, but we don't know what's going to happen when utility truly kicks in with a lot of these assets. But Constellation DAG for me is one of those assets that is going to have a repricing event. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to be huge and it's not going to go to the moon overnight, but I feel that once this kicks in, there's definitely going to be, yeah.
Okay. So two things. One is this, from today's prices right now, not that we care about prices, but I mean, we do, just not today. Right from today's prices to when they gave those tokens or sold those tokens, back in 2018, you're looking at a 4x from today.
Yeah.
More or less. 3 point.
So I mean, that's, yeah.
From today. So like 3.5 in the real world is pretty damn good on your money. Not to say where it's going to go. With regards to like actual like return on investment versus something else, for me, because it has no market cap here. So I struggle with this one, right? Like this is a conversation that all of us have from time to time. There likely, in my opinion, there will likely be a situation when we will have a new way of measuring the value of a token, not taking the old traditional like market cap approach. It just has to, because there's something like for DAG, for example, clearly big businesses are potentially going to be using this. Clearly, the U.S. Air Force has sunk a lot of money into it. Clearly, the government is looking, or the military part of the government is looking to potentially use this technology. So the use case is as good, if not better, than most projects out there, in my opinion.
So did you say that there is no fixed supply for?
There is no fixed supply with the new.
So weird, because I keep coming up with the 3.69. I guess I'm going to have to keep looking.
Yeah, that was the, I forget what they called it because it's a weird name, but it's, give me 1 second, I can tell you what it's called. Tokenomics, so old model, new model, Metanomics. Metanomics. In Q1 of 2025, they shifted over to Metanomics. Unless, of course, I'm being lied to, which I don't think so.
No, you're probably not. I'll definitely look more into it.
So,
yeah.
So for me, what I was trying to get to was this: like, if we're gonna have no cap, where the cap is use case. So now the amount of use case is what we have to give value to,
right.
not
the velocity.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not this like amount, this cap amount. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, when I see people talk about the XRP haters, usually they're like, guys, this is never going to happen because this is how you get to, like, they are not understanding. It's more of like a commodity, right? Like, how do you price oil? It's going to be more like that side of things than it is going to be just strictly market cap times circulating supply.
I understand that it's just data that's moving back and forth, and that DAG is just a burning, like it's being used to burn. It's a gas token, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but if the use case is as big as I think it's going to be for the government, just the government alone.
It's the government, not AI for me is what's going to do it. See,
Right.
AI, I think AI is going to be integrated in freaking everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be so integrated that we can't even foresee how integrated it's going to be. And that's going to use a lot of DAG. AI is going to be massive for me.
Yeah, the AI is definitely very interesting. I mean, just think about the amount of data that Meta, YouTube, TikTok is collecting on you, let alone artificial intelligence. It's not only studying the users, but it's consistently upgrading into the Web 2 infrastructure. It's paying attention to that. It's actually storing all that information. And then when you add on top of that the Internet of Things,
Internet of Things for me, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that in and of itself it's machine learning. The amount of information and data that thing has to collect. There's a ton of course, financial infrastructure, a lot of data with that. I mean, the partnerships with the U.S. government is big, but I kind of agree. I think that maybe the AI and the IoT are probably going to be the biggest drivers of your data.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the government stuff is great. And of course, with the government stuff, not only do you have, what you need there, but think of all the AI that's going to be integrated or is being integrated into our government, into our military, into our satellite, it's astronomical. I guess I should have, I guess Metanomics is something that I'm going to have to dive into.
Somebody asked, as a retail investor, what is the value of holding DAG? You guys want to give your opinion on that?
What is the value of holding DAG? I think for me, the value is, like I said, you're super early. That can be a blessing or a curse, right? Because it could really go either way. Yeah, you got this technology that's been in a sandbox and been kind of played around with to see if it works, but other things could be up and coming and could kind of swoop in and take the place. For me right now, like I said, it's literally the only one position too. Yeah, as of now, that's a big one for me. But that could be we're early, right?
This one gives me, in French, there's a word called frisson, goosebumps in English.
Yeah.
And the reason it gives me goosebumps is because, guys, let's be straight here. This is gambling. When you're investing, you're gambling. You are hoping that the price is going to go the way you want it to go, whether you're shorting the market or you're potentially equipping yourself with as much knowledge as possible in order to make the best decision possible. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen because none of us have a crystal ball, none of us have the DeLorean, and none of us are best friends with Michael J. Fox. If we were, we would know exactly what to invest in. That's just the God's honest truth. Now, a project like DAG, Constellation DAG, for me, in my opinion, is something that could have real use case in a niche, which is what Misty was saying earlier. And if that takes off, you will do very well. That you'll be one of those people saying like, how the hell did you know about Oracle back in the day? Like Amazon? You invested in Amazon? You wanted to buy books? Like you were talking about a crypto coin that was maybe working with the Air Force and magic robots that were going to control our lives? Like that's what you invested in? That's kind of what people are going to say to you 20 years down the line.
But on top of that, how many people know to even look for that? Like when you talk to people about crypto, they're like, oh, it's like invisible money that just floats around in space that's not tied to anything. Like they truly have no clue that these are real world fixers. They are solving real world problems. People don't even know what they don't know. You know what I mean? I feel like if people knew what this problem was solving and where it is being integrated and, what it has done so far in test nets and things, I think more people would be willing to invest Same with XRP, XLM, Quant, IOTA, you know, all these things, if they knew what they were actually fixing, yeah.
Bully,
That's why
I meant
try
to
to
tell
start
you.
each one of these episodes by discussing the real world friction points out there so that when we do talk about a project that has utility, it's coming in to solve a problem. When we talk about like data integrity or data validation, there's a way that there's probably ways that you can actually find the actual value of an ecosystem like this. I mean, maybe it could be difficult to find that particularly. But it's hard to understand what the thing is actually solving if you don't know what the problems are in the real world. For me, this is one very early, but it's positioning itself to become core infrastructure. And if it does succeed with its ambitions, the infrastructure doesn't go away. This is something that would have consistent daily, yearly, quarterly demand that is not going anywhere because they depend on it. That's a different type of demand than your speculative demand from your meme coins or your Bitcoin. Infrastructure demand is something where it's going to up and to the right.
Absolutely agree. And as Morgan said, 0.0139. That's what you're buying it at today. Is 1 penny. I'm not telling you to go buy. I'm not telling you to go mortgage the house. I'm actually not telling you to go buy it at all. But instead of paying $6 for your drink, maybe don't to tomorrow. Maybe just invest it. And if DAG is where you want to put your money, then do it. If it's not, then go buy a pudgy penguin.
Well, now that I know your show's structured a little bit differently, I'll have to get your breakdown of how you structure the show if you want me to come back for another one.
Yeah, you're great. By the way, Bully, I forgot to tell you. I wanted to start with this. Chat, please help. I'm surrounded right now by quant maxis.
Oh yes, I didn't know that. I love that about you, Bully. I love quant. Quant is quant is my jam for sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I thought you were just like
look at that smile right now.
I was telling Caveman, he's like, "Do you know Blockchain Bully?" I was like, "Yeah, I love him," and he's I was like, "But I can't really watch him a lot because I have a 3-year-old." And he swears, so I'm like, I know that our values align, and I know that we're totally there, but I can't watch him all the time because.
What it's worth, guys. Lent is coming up, and I am going to try to work on my mouth. So chat will be responsible for when I do slip up. Ash Wednesday is coming up, and that is something I'm going to work on, but maybe that's the New York in me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Get the fuck out of here is what I told him. I was like, chill, my 3-year-old will be running around saying, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's no good.
Go eat a fucking Cobb salad, right?
Yeah, he was on that Cobb salad for a while. It was great. I'm getting a t-shirt for Cobb salad.
Yeah.
Chat, throw one in the comments if you guys really enjoyed CryptoWewo's education, her presence. What do you guys think of her joining us for tonight's episode? I think you did a fantastic job. You do bring an energy into this space with your education that makes it very very, I don't know, pleasurable to kind of discuss projects with.
Oh, thanks. I felt like I was a little underprepared for this one, but Caveman, you guys did a great job. So yeah. That's
me. I'm playing. Can you hear that?
A little bit. Oh. Yay! Thanks, guys. Thank you, JP.
Yeah, no. Honestly, thank you so much for doing this. It was much better to have you here. You're an asset. You're an asset to this community. One thing I said to you tonight, and I'll say it here. It's not often that you get to see a real person up there, not trying to pretend to be anybody, giving just the information that's available day in and day out, and I really appreciate you about that. Thank you. I appreciate you guys as well. Thanks. So, and honestly, if I'm being real here, both of you two, you both are the same. it's literally, I'm looking at a mirror image of you two.
It's true. I feel like we are very, very similar for sure. Like I said, I've had, Bully was on my radar for a while, but it's such a tricky thing I'm just going to start reaching out to people to I didn't, but I'm glad that we're here now because it's such a tricky space. Sometimes I feel you guys, I'm sure know sometimes it's not really welcoming and you don't really know where you stand. And so I'm just like, I'll just hang back and see what happens.
I was arguing with people half an hour before I came on this live.
Yeah, it's crazy.
To be honest, for the year that I've been here, I love the community and I feel like I've gotten to know other creators on here, but man, there are a lot of people I am not interested in anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I don't care.
I agree.
A lot of people not interested
agree.
anymore.
Definitely.
And on that, that's okay.
Yeah.
The three of us are not everyone's cup of tea.
Right, exactly.
I'm fully okay with that. Like, you have to find your lane. You have to find out what's good for you. And like coming to Sunday night for Utility Unlock and grabbing pieces of that information and then going to, Monday morning, like TA with whomever, and then going to the Rise Up show and doing that kind of stuff and grabbing your information from places. Wadi is another great person in the space. Like, you can get your information from a lot of people. Not everybody is going to be pure God truth.
Yeah.
Or might not resonate with you. And that's
I totally agree. And you should.
Yep.
Not only
100%.
You absolutely should get information and make your own discernment with everything that you've gathered on, don't just listen to one person. We can only tell half of our story when we're on here. There's a whole bunch of other variables that, we have biases towards for whatever reason, so just collect your own information. And Gary is great. Isn't Gary great? I don't like, he's a lot of fun, but
we got to put Bully on Gary's radar. Or vice versa. Okay, guys, one more thing before people leave. Yeah, well, don't worry. He's in New York. Is he a New Yorker or New Jersey?
I'm not sure, to be honest, where he was originally from.
He worked on the floor at the Wall Street Stock Exchange. So
he did. He was a lobbyist in Washington too. Yeah. He's definitely got some stories for sure. He's really great. He definitely brings a different layer to the space. I was scrolling and I saw him and clicked and messaged and said, "Hey, do you want to do a live?" And in all honesty, I didn't even in that moment know if he knew about crypto. And then the first time he came on, we were just chatting and I was like, "So what are your thoughts on crypto?" And he went off and I was like, "Yes, score." Sweet. It was great. Yeah.
Okay, before people start to dip out, guys, I don't think if there are any questions for the three of us, please feel free to put them in right now. We will answer the questions. I know this is one of those projects that is relatively new for most people because it really came onto the scene last year, hardcore. Same logo, different price. Constellation DAG is what you want to look up.
Bitcoin.
So if you have any questions, please feel free. And then Ray already beat me to the punch. Now is the time of the show where you guys get to vote. Just please only vote once. Vote on what you want us to talk about next week. So put in what you guys want to talk about. We're starting now. Do, 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 do. You guys are all choosing literally more or less the opposite. Everyone's choosing. There's no consensus here, which is not great. H-bar we did.
I feel like it's IOTA or OnDAO.
There's 4 right now that have 2. All right, so we're gonna start over. The ones you can choose from is Quint. Yeah, well, only one person said it. So the ones you can choose from are BTC,
PR.
LCX, Ondo, or IOTA. IOTA, Ondo, LCX, Kita, not Kita, sorry, BTC. BTC, LCX, Ondo, IOTA. Go. Ondo, we got 2. BTC, 3, 4. LCX, 2. IOTA, 2 more.
Poor Ray Todd. He just can't get Bitcoin in there.
Ondo, LCX, 4, 5. Ondo, 5.
I'm gonna have to say.
Okay. Ondo.
Yeah, gonna have to say if everyone voted once, it was Ondo. I saw the most of.
Ondo. We're doing Ondo, guys. Next week is Ondo, so feel free. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We would just be talking to the 3 of us, which also would be a good time. But, you being here and sharing with the live, 90,000 likes. We appreciate you.
Guys, please give my co-host a follow. Throw 1 in the chat if you learned at least one thing new. That is entirely our goal. If you are new, welcome. If you're returning, thank you guys so much for being here. CryptoWewo, you did an awesome job tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely loved you. And I'm looking forward to working with you.
Awesome. I'm excited. This will be so I'm coming back next week.
I'm good with it. You got my
All
I'm
right.
good with it. I'm good with it. You want to come back next week?
Yeah, definitely. If you'll have me, yeah.
Bring her on.
Awesome.
Next week, we goes back.
Thanks, guys.
Wise-eyed open.
Eyes wide open.
With
eyes wide open, Wewo, yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you for coming.
Open your eyes, guys.
And I'll send you what I do. Again, there's no right way of doing it, but so that you get an idea of.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of a breakdown of just topics you touch on, really. I got a little bit of what,
But here's the thing. I never know where this guy's going to go. So I kind of have to skip over things too. It's just fine.
Totally fine.
I think we have a pretty decent structure.
We do.
I think it's the introduction. We'll get a little bit into the project itself, the history, partnerships, integration, compliance, the team, and then pros and cons.
Tokenomics.
Yeah, tokenomics. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's good.
Definitely.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all the love in the chat too. Thank you.
Did great. You got any closing thoughts, or am I good to disconnect you guys so you guys can keep your gifts?
I am excited to do Ondo, and I'm sad that we're not doing BTC because that would be a marathon.
That would be a marathon.
But that's okay.
All right, let's do it. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Love you guys.
They did an awesome job. I was really excited to do tonight's episode. This was a project that I've been watching for years, and they knocked it out of the park. Next week, Sunday, 8 p.m., we're going to be jumping into Ondo Finance. This is one hell of a monster. I'm really actually excited to do this as well. And I'm very happy that we have a new addition into the Utility Unlocked. As you guys know, Be the Change took some time off to focus on business and things like that. So God bless him. He was an awesome researcher, awesome addition into the team as we have it. But this show definitely deserves 3 people. And I think that she is an outstanding addition to it. I'm actually really excited to be working with her. Hopefully you guys absolutely love her research, her education, and her perspective and the way that she walks into this market and walks you guys through it. So next week, 8 p.m., Ondo. Let's do it. Guys, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. We almost had 100,000 likes, 92,000. Thank you guys so much. For everyone that commented, you guys are the bloodline for the entire live. You guys keep it fun. You guys keep it engaging. Thank you guys so much for talking to each other, talking with one another in there. For everyone tapping the screen, I know you guys were probably tapping until your fingernails were breaking. Thank you guys so much for just coming in and supporting all of us. This is really a space where I'm growing with you guys, and I'm excited to learn with you guys, and hopefully we push you guys to become educated investors, and you guys absolutely do the same for us. For everyone that donated, all the subscribers, thank you guys so much. This has been an amazing year for me to come up here and kind of just share my thoughts with you guys. With that being said, guys, utility over speculation, and what if it all works out?